everyone. It is a nice Wednesday night. I'm Jerma.
And I'm PapaLlama.
And I'm Jeremy.
Yes, we have a very special guest today. We're going to be bringing our glorious leader Jeremy in to talk about a special feature that, as of the posting of this, as of recording, all the DVCs know, but as of posting, has been announced to the public. Jeremy, why
And
don't
this
you tell us
is
a bit about it?
real fast. This is Jeremy's first time on the podcast, right? We had
Yeah,
the one that
my
never got premiered, but this is his
first
first.
time.
Welcome.
And right. So, please everyone, be nice to him in the comments. But Jeremy, what can you tell us about the guilds?
So, if anyone is old enough on this server to remember, we used to have server companies, which were kind of like these subgroups where people could pretend to be part of fictional settings where we create memes and discuss company politics and kind of act and have some fun activity to do. And this was organic, but because it's organic, a lot of problems start to pop up, so we had to shut it down. So this is kind of the spiritual successor to that, but now it has specific mod oversight and WSDUC functionality. And rather than essentially LARPing as companies, instead we're branching out to include specific server activities and things where we have a common goal to achieve things. So, for example, we could have a memers guild that's focused on creating memes for CDD.
Interesting example there. There's one of the things mentioned was guild rewards, like a priority for AMA questions and experience boost. Is that all that's going to be planned, or is there also opportunity for more exciting rewards in the future?
Well, I don't want to spoil things, and
Ooh.
I'm probably not the best person to ask because while I am the one who initially thought of the idea, this whole guild idea has completely expanded beyond the initial idea that I proposed, and I'm not the one who's been planning the creation and specifics of the guilds. That job belongs more to Pants in terms of the planning and Lace in terms of the bot functionality. But even if I did have that knowledge, I'd probably, or had that expertise, I would still want to keep mum about it until you guys can see for yourselves.
That's a good idea. There's always some excitement in the anticipation of not knowing. I think it's cool. I think this is like government sponsored Celticom. Is what it feels like to me, which is cool. But I will always forever be a Swolkov and Sons, and I'm pretty sure I was the only member of that company.
I mean, it's funny you say that because the announcement for the DVCs on the guilds actually suggested Swolkov and Sons as a potential guild.
I saw it. It did, and I think it made because I literally was like being one of the person that Swolkov and Sons on our name, but like Volkov never addressed it. It was amazing. He just avoided addressing it for like the end of all time. He still hasn't. So he obviously was not into it. But
Yeah.
Swolkov and Sons would have been cool. Really, what it should be is we should do so. The lifters need to be named after like King. Like they got to do something with that because King. I mean, he didn't put a selfie of him, but he posted a picture of his body, and my goodness, he lives up to the name.
There's just a bit of an issue with a lifters guild, which is the guild that I put together also faced a bit of, which is that the people who are interested in that sort of thing tend not to make it to Crusader Lord and can't start a guild in their name.
They're too busy lifting.
They're too busy lifting.
It's true.
I mean, eventually we might have to just restrict guild formation to Crusader Kings because the amount of Crusader Lords might increase to too large of a degree.
I mean, there's only...
I think your restriction of this to at the current moment to Crusader Lord and Crusader Kings is good also in a sense that it gives people another reason to just go beyond DVC. Right? Cuz so many people are DVC now. When I joined it was like a handful and now there's so many DVC people. It gives people a reason to kind of push up to Crusader King or Crusader Lord, which is I think is a good thing.
I
Well,
agree.
then,
We're always looking for new rewards to encourage people to participate more on this server.
when I first became a DVC, I was one of 50 DVCs or so, 50 or 60 DVCs. Now there's 124 DVCs. And
Oh
then when I
my.
became a Crusader,
Amazing you.
yeah, when I became
That's
a
amazing you're
Crusader
back.
Lord, it was like one of 20 Crusader Lords, and now we're up to like 35. And then Crusader King, I was one of 7, and now we're up to 13. And there's been a big bubble in the number of people ranking up. But I
Though
mean,
to
it's
I
be
think it's
fair,
actually really cool.
many of these DVCs are no longer active or have very little activity now.
and
Yeah.
then there's
I think
also
it's cool though that we're growing in Crusader Lords and Crusader Kings, and because like to get there requires kind of an impressive amount of consistency on the server, and so for people to even make it up past DVC and into that is an interesting time because those people are probably more likely to be active than not.
the Crusader Kings definitely is you're gonna see a very different ratio of Crusader Kings to Crusader Lords because a lot of the folk who get to the only people who are Crusader Lords who I don't see being Crusader Kings shortly are people like you, PapaLlama, who only got to Crusader Lord because they spent one too many times in VC when driving home.
Dude, for real, I'm the greatest example of like you can be the slowest experience earner on this server, but if you just stick around long enough and like participate at your own rate, you can eventually reach Crusader Lord. I've got to be like the slowest path to it.
Yep. Well,
There you go. There you go, kids. Motivation for your life.
slow and steady wins the race as the tortoise goes.
You too can actually touch grass and reach Crusader Lord.
One of the funny things, actually, now that I say the tortoise comment, you know, Usain Bolt races tortoises.
Like in the water.
No, he has a tortoise that has do tortoise racing.
Oh, he races tortoises against each other.
Yes.
That is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the new version of cockfighting where you have or bull baiting?
No, it's a lot more humane than that. You put them in two little tracks, pieces of plywood blocking each other from sight, and you see who can make it down the track fastest.
What's what's the thing that tempts them? Like like with the dogs, like that the greyhounds, they put like a rabbit and they run it. They have like a motorized rabbit they drag around the track. Like what do? Do you have like a piece of lettuce?
I'm not sure if they have anything, but looking at the stats, Mr. Bolt takes a good 9 seconds and 9.58 seconds to run 100 meters. And Birdie, his tortoise, takes 5 minutes and 57 seconds.
30. This is amazing, by the way. I actually really love this. This is something I wouldn't have expected, but it almost feels perfect.
Yeah, I'm looking at the BBC article on it right now. It's crazy.
That's what we need. We need less politics and more articles about strange sports like tortoise racing and gabon.
You'll never let me live Gabon down.
Yeah, man, that's my favorite thread on all of CDD. I don't think it'll ever be replaced.
Yeah. I mean, we'll
Oh,
probably never get a politics guild because they would shoot that dead at the door, the guild
We
committee.
should not have a
But,
politics guild. My goodness.
but a
Yeah,
politics
Jerma,
in Gabon
Jerma,
guild.
it's time to keep your fantasies to yourself.
Hey, politics in Gabon, that wasn't my idea. Certain other people in the call here suggested that wasn't me.
Yeah, Jeremy missed he missed us and our producer, the other admin Riles, having conversations about having a Gabon guild, a Gabon news guild.
At that point, it's just the guild of reminding everyone of that one time German was a bit too excited about a coup d'etat.
Where are the French troops, Jerma? Where are the French
They'll
troops?
show up with time. They're with Birdie the tortoise, dude. Calm down.
They're with Bertie the tortoise. Yeah, they're gonna catch up. All right, so we've got the guilds, and there's for those of you who are DVC pluses, you know how they are formed, and we have a few guilds that have been started. Before we get into like what I think eventually we'll get into some of the guilds that already exist and their guild leaders have given us some information about their guilds, but what would be like what would be some fun guilds outside of the ones that have been created already? Like, you know, I mean, has anybody created a gaming guild yet? That's the one I want to know. Who's creating like the video game guild?
Ooh, that's a good question. I bet probably Lace may do that since he
Uh,
got what game of the year.
Yeah, I
I
was
think
gonna
even
say.
if Lace is not on the
Oh,
guild
right.
committee, it might be awkward for him to do that because he's the one running Wisduck,
Right,
which is
right.
necessary for running
True, but
the
there's
guilds.
enough people who play video games on CDD that like a video game guild should be a really easy one to identify.
Mhm.
Actually, I
The
think Lace is on the guild committee, so never mind.
Yeah, the guild committee. Oh, that was brutal because I was soliciting T-Bone to join my guild because he seemed like the sort of guy who'd be interested. And then he got picked for the guild committee, and we were like, well, that ends any discussion there. But
Oh, so the guild committee people can't be in a guild. I didn't know that.
yeah, I mean, well, that'd be like guild insider trading because they're the ones who approve guilds and whatnot, and they get guild. They won the events. I mean,
That's fair. That and you're assuming too that I did more than my usual once read over and then like forget half of what I just read.
that's the benefit of having someone detail oriented on the podcast.
Hey, my entire job is detail oriented. I just don't want to do it on the internet. It's like this is where I come to relax, I suppose.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes. But yeah, so video game guild. Have they started like a would it be too cliche to have like a faith guild or a catechism
That would
guild?
be so broad. We have a specific type of theologian guild. We have a saints guild. We
Oh,
have a
yeah.
here's the question I'm wondering. So far of the guilds we've put together, three of them have very clearly Latin names. I'm not sure if Jeremy's name, his guild is one which has an exceedingly Latin name. But do you
It
think that?
combines English and Latin.
All right, that's what I suspected. Do you guys think that that trend will hold? That a lot of the guilds are gonna have Latin names, or are we gonna start seeing more guilds like Cubics, the
I
Memers
mean,
Guild?
definitely the trend of having Latin names has started because the first guild, the Test Guild, kind of
Mhm.
was Pants's one, which
Yeah,
has a Latin name.
and then my guild, the second, well, no, not the second, the third proper guild to be public was also Latin named, and then Washington followed suit.
What is the name of the guild that I joined, which is your guild?
Uh, Arboreus Fide,
Okay.
Trees of Faith.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Gotcha.
if we are English speaking Catholics and the guild name is not going to be in English, then what language would it not be if not Latin?
Oh, what language would it be if it wasn't Latin? It'd be real funny if we had like an Arabic guild or
That
a
was it. That was Germa. That was an idiom. I didn't mean that literally.
I think you're handling it the best, Jeremy, as far as or correctly as far as doing like a pseudo English and Latin, you know, combination of words for the name because that will like it gives people like it sounds fancy and it sounds Latin, but it gives people a real idea of what they're looking at.
yeah. That
I mean,
actually
it's kind of like where where we use Latin terms in English, but we don't follow all the rules of Latin. So, like for example, we often refer to the uh, ecclesiastical universities in Rome, the pontifical universities, with the prefix like the definite article, but it's the Latin name. So like
Oh,
the
interesting.
you refer to like the Gregorian or the Angelicum.
interesting. That reminds me, there's a game I like to play in Parish Hall, which is can you actually tell the difference between Latin and Italian? And for the game, I take three excerpts, all from the same document, Rerum Novarum. Take all three. You and your ecclesiastical Latin mocking my classical pronunciation. I can't believe you, Jeremy. Moving on.
I don't think the classical Romans ever pronounced R with a W sound. Just
Uh,
saying.
it was the V they pronounced as W's. But I have a very great friend in Rome who pronounces it with a W as well, though.
I don't know if you're doing it on purpose or not now.
Anyway,
The
the
hard,
game.
hard part of this is remembering that Jerma does have like a hearing deficiency, and so it's like, how much of this is he doing it on purpose, or is this just like a mispronunciation? You don't
It's
want.
like
I
the
don't,
whole
Easy way
Life
to
of
put it.
Brian meme.
Yeah, and then there's a, I have a very great friend in Rome, and I can't finish that sentence, but it's a hilarious bit. Anyway, back to my game.
killing me.
What I would run, I would
Even
take
before I get called an ableist.
three excerpts, and I would chop up Latin, Italian, and I would be like, okay, can you identify which ones are Latin and which ones are Italian? And out of the 10 or so people who I've made do it, only 2 of them could actually reliably identify what was going on.
Have you made me do it?
I have not made you do it yet. Actually, that'd be a fun game to play. We have a bit of time. I'm gonna go grab them. I think Jeremy, you actually read stuff, which first gives you a major advantage because it's not like all your Latin knowledge is from LARPing.
Yeah, I think if you're reading these texts or even like you have some familiarity with either language, you can tell
Automatically, yeah.
yeah, like especially the more words there are, the easier it is to tell.
All right, and now I'm posting it in the chat. Well, we can't read these out because I think that would give it away. But Jeremy, can you tag of the 3 of them?
First one is definitely Italian. Yeah, that's Italian. Second one's also Italian. Third one's a bit hard, but I think they're all 3 are Italian.
All right, I'm looking up the answer key.
You have an answer key to this. Of course, you have an answer key to this. Why am I asking?
So you said the first 2 are Italian.
No, I said they're all. I said I'm less sure about the third one, but the first 2 are definitely Italian. I'd say the third one's also Italian.
All right.
All right. Before you give the answer, I should also be allowed to vote on this. So it's whether it's Italian or Latin.
Italian or Latin.
All right. I got 1 and 3 are Italian. Number 2 is Latin.
All right. Well, this is now. Here comes the answer. Number 3 is Italian. 1 and 2 are chopped up Italian, Latin gibberish.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option. I thought it was just
Yeah.
Italian
I
and
feel
Latin.
bamboozled here. What the heck?
Well, that's because first I'm playing a dirty game.
I was gonna say
Because
this is not.
somebody who like is entirely fluent in Latin will notice. Wait a minute, this is and Italian, fluent in Italian and Latin will notice. But also, if you play back, people at home are going to be able to do this. Poor PapaLlama and Jeremy, they're up trouble Greek. I did say chopped up, so you definitely didn't notice. But I did technically, big air quotes there, warn you.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you meant by chopped up. I thought you just meant you took little like parts of sentences.
Yeah, I took, and because I was playing this very, very cautiously, I took part of the same sentence. So if you switched between Latin and Italian, you would be able to get the correct meaning about. You wouldn't be able to go, wait a minute, it makes no sense, because it goes from things I don't understand to a part that makes sense.
Now that you
It's
tell me that
interesting.
it's Latin and Italian mixed, I can more accurately identify the Latin in this.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in the first one, et ut homines expreantur is definitely Latin.
Yeah, and then you have
As well as nulla arte poterunt.
nulla
and-
vitu.
And, ab humano convictu penitus.
Yeah,
Nulla.
but it's
It's-
a dirty game, because
It is very dirty because like I just went off based off my first assumptions and I saw like the certain words that I had heard and seen when I was literally in Italy, and so I was like, okay, that, and then there was somewhere I was like for instance when I saw in the second one I saw Di Vita, I was like, that is not Italian. I was like, that is not Italian. So I was like,
There's
I was
also
just
words that are shared between the 2 languages because Italian is
Yeah.
a
Yep.
descendant
Yeah,
language of
it's
Latin.
exactly. So yeah, that is really dirty. This is not even fair. All right, this is German's like, why did I play my game? Well, because this.
All right. I'm very proud of this game. I am very proud of it, and I've used the same game on everyone. I'm not even like crafting up a new one. I'm just
You can
copy
just
pasting the
bamboozle
same
everybody
one.
the game.
It works. It works, and I'm very proud of it. I enjoy this game. Everyone else doesn't, but that's
It's because all right, the only person who's gonna enjoy this is you because you set out a false binary answer, and then you present people with questions where the answers are not within that binary system. Like, of course, people aren't going to enjoy that.
Yeah, Jerma, if you told me specifically it's possible that some of these sentences have Latin and Italian mixed in the same sentence, I would have been probably more cautious.
Yeah,
but this
yeah. This
comes to the ultimate point, which is that if someone is truly able to read either one of these languages, like I don't doubt for a second a fluent Italian speaker would automatically pick up, wait a minute, there's something afoot. This game is really meant to trick people who are learning Latin and people who think they know Latin but don't.
Yeah,
So
but I think you could have been
that,
more clear on the rules.
of course.
you're
But
talking. You're like
I'm
maybe
playing an
Jeremy knows a little
underhanded
bit of
game.
Latin, but
Like
I
if you give
haven't
me
been
three
like
more
really.
sentences, Jerma, I think I'll do better.
All right.
Now that you know, yeah, for of course. I
Mm-hmm.
actually, what's funny is I would probably do worse. Like I got one out of the three correct. I would actually probably do worse because just by glancing, my odds were higher than if I tried to pay attention with the absolute minute amount of Italian that I actually know.
It's
Jerma, do you have any other sentences so
I
we
do
can
not
try to
have any
give me?
other sentences
Okay.
prepared, but it reminds
Jeremy,
me there's a little I don't remember where it came from, but one of the facts of life is if you're ever put in a spot where you have to play odds against LeBron James in basketball, you'll always do better on a one shot, one game versus
yeah.
on something where you get as many chances as you can.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I would have a better chance of beating LeBron James in a single 3-point shot game than I would in an actual game of basketball
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the chance of LeBron James messing up and I getting lucky is a lot higher.
Well, his the skill differential even out will begin to just crush you over more shots, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if he
No,
makes even if I am like amazing at basketball, which I'm not, but if I was, if I had like a 97% shot rate and LeBron James has a 98, he's gonna win. Just the statistics of it.
you see that you actually see this in combat sports a lot, what you're describing, because like you'll watch a guy who's losing a fight most of the way. I'm just going to use the UFC as an example because it's popular nowadays. But you watch a guy losing the fight, he'll catch the other guy, he'll win the fight, right? And then they'll fight year or two down the line. The other guy will win, and then they're 1-1 against each other, and then they'll have a third fight, and the guy who won the second time will just like destroy the guy the third time. Like it's almost predictable. It's interesting, but you'll eventually like you got that one lucky thing that happens, but then if you let this go over a long period of time, it'll catch up with you. With the guy who's better will perform better than you over time.
And this is where one of my very fundamental uh, pieces of life advice comes from. Quit while you're ahead. If you're winning, leave the table. Take what you can.
Oh yeah.
Especially in
Well,
gambling.
yeah. I hate gambling to begin
I mean,
with for
that's the
personal
tricky
reasons.
thing about gambling.
All right.
Statistically, people get too addicted that they can't withdraw once they've made sufficient gains to justify playing.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm winning. I can do some more.
At this point now, we've gone very off topic.
This has
We
been a
had
blast, though.
Yes, we had actually before the episode aired, we had asked all the current setup guilds to give us little blurbs about them so that our listeners can hear some stuff and the guild can get their best foot out there. It's been like, oh boy, when was this stuff announced? Not, was it announced this morning? I can't remember. Anyway, it was announced recently. When was it? It was announced yesterday, okay. But all of this stuff was put together recently, so not all the guilds that you guys are going to be seeing on published date are included, but the ones that we contacted and the ones that got back to us were, Jeremy, you were the first one to get back to us, so why don't you read out your little mission statement and introduce us to your guild?
Well, since I'm here to speak in the flesh, I'll not only talk about the mission statement, but also the things that we have planned for the guild in terms of specialization. So here is our mission statement. So first of all, the name of the guild is the Scholarium, and the Scholarium's mission is this. Our goal is to make the Catholic scholastic tradition more widely known once again, and to inculcate and form people in this tradition. We hope to contribute even just a little to the revival of scholasticism, so that scholastic philosophy and theology may once more become the invincible bulwark of the faith, as Pope Leo XIII said in his encyclical Aeterni Patris. So, I don't know if you guys want to ask questions before I talk about the specifics and specialization of our guild.
All right. One question, I know the answer to this question because I'm a very learned man, but most people don't.
Right.
What is scholasticism?
I think the easiest way to answer this question is just to literally read off what the Wikipedia article says, because it's pretty accurate. So scholasticism was a medieval school of philosophy and theology that employed the critical organic method of philosophical analysis predicated upon Aristotelianism in the 10 categories. So building off of this definition, I would say scholasticism, at least in its original form, was a medieval school, but there's also later scholasticism, like the second scholasticism of the post-Reformation period in the 16th, 17th, and 18th century. And then there's also the neo-scholastic period of the 19th and 20th century. And what it means by the critical organic method is the logical method of Aristotle, which is present in his Organon, which is his 6 works on logical analysis and dialectics, categories on interpretation, prior analytics, posterior analytics, topics, and unsophistical refutations.
Well, that's I worry that for a lot of, not even just us in the recording studio, the listeners too, that a lot of these are newer words and ideas. So if you're learning about that, I think Jeremy's Guild is a very good one to figure out what those words mean.
You ever seen that
But,
meme with the guy working at the fast food restaurant? I think it's an old Mad TV or SNL skit, and he like reads a paper and he goes, I know some of those words. That's me right now.
Here's an easier way to put this. Like, if you're familiar with St. Thomas Aquinas or Thomism, or people like Duns Scotus, Blessed Duns Scotus, and St. Bonaventure, they all founded what would become schools of scholastic theology and philosophy. So you have the Bonaventurians, the Scotus, the Thomists, etc. These are all schools of theology that we would consider scholastic. So if you ever like read parts of the Summa Theologiae, the way that theology is laid out, that is scholasticism.
interesting. And you said you had a few things planned that you wanted to tell us about?
Yeah, so in terms of what our guild will do in the specifics, we plan to have things like discussions, reading groups, book clubs, lectures, and also learning resources for people who are new to the tradition, want to learn or read about it, as well as videos and things like that that other people have made that we want to share. In terms of like who's welcome to join, it's welcome for both newbies and masters, as well as anyone in between. Generally, anyone who wants to learn, teach, or discuss scholasticism is welcome to join the guild.
Sounds very cool. Oh, this is something that I realized we probably should have mentioned a bit ago, but there's a difference between a guild and a normal, what's it called, hobby thread or culture group, right?
Right. The hobby and culture groups are far more casual, and it's more just places for discussion rather than trying to organize activities or produce things. So, for example, the meme guilds differ from the meme channels because the meme channels are just open for someone to post a meme that they've created, while the meme guild is focused on creating memes and organizing the creation of memes and things like that.
Yeah. And on that note, I'm going to read the document, well, the document, a bit of a big word for it, but I'm going to read the excerpt that Cubic prepared for the meme guild. Well, the memers guild is the official name. His guild will be about making memes for other guilds. If you don't want to make memes, you can simply join and be a critic. Personally, when Cubic makes memes, he asked people to help him figure out how to word format and what video/picture to use.
Well, why don't you just read it from first person?
I'll read it from the first person. If you want to join the Memers Guild, you'll get to have a part in the creation of content that will bring laughter to people. So join the Memers Guild and help us create content. And now I realize from the point where I stopped reading it in the third person, there wasn't any first person to read from. Cubic's Guild, from what I've heard, has a few big meme names. Not gonna say anyone because I don't actually know for a fact, but it looks very promising. And I've made a few good memes in my time, but unfortunately I've got my own guild. PapaLlama, why don't you read the thing that Pants had prepared for us?
Okay. Is that...
Is it the
No,
witnesses?
is that the second or the third one there?
You didn't label
One
this
that's-
very
No,
well.
I labeled them. It said the witnesses.
Okay. So, yeah, you just... Anyways, you put it underneath. All right, gotcha. The witnesses who have preceded us into the kingdom share in the living tradition of prayer by the example of their lives, the transmission of their writings and their prayers today. Is it verbum dei or verbum
Yeah.
dei?
Verbum Day.
Verbum Dei.
All right, verbum dei. Verbum dei aims to gather the testimony of these witnesses, both in their sayings and their writings, for the sake of the spiritual betterment of our community. From the lauded confessions of Augustine through the lengthy tombs of Thomas Aquinas to the tiny letters of Joan of Arc, all that the saints have said and written is valuable, and we intend to preserve it.
That's actually a pretty cool idea. One of the things.
That is pretty epic. I gotta
Yeah.
give him credit for that write-up. And this is Pants, and his is... And so he's calling it Verbum Dei. That's pretty cool.
Definitely one of the things I'd appreciate. My favorite saint is Saint Oscar Romero of oh man, Honduras. Yes, Honduras, I believe it was. But oh man, okay,
Kind of
I'm gonna
awkward.
I'm gonna look like such a fool if it wasn't Honduras. Salvador, no. Oh, and it's even worse because they went to war and everything.
It's
Oh,
okay.
bother.
You're the only person
Jerma,
that knows they went to war.
that's your
You and
L
two other
for
people.
this episode.
Wow, that's horrible. I am so sorry to the entire population of El Salvador, Honduras, and Saint Oscar Romero.
I appreciate
Anyway.
that the L came in history.
Brother. Anyway, I really like the guy, but his writings are not that easily found. It'd be definitely nice to have people who gather and keep them on hand, especially in English, which is something that Pants would have to do a la Rule 6.
I think
Jeremy?
I guess
Oh, yeah.
honestly, with Oscar Romero's kind of bit tangential, but with Oscar Romero and other saints, the only place that people can typically find their writings in English is in things like the Liturgy of the Hours, where the Office of Readings for their feast day has their writings as a second reading.
Well, Jeremy, if you would be so wonderful as to read what Washington wrote for his guild.
Okay. So this is what Washington says about his guild. Oh wait, I should probably say the name of his guild.
Yes. Did he write it? Oh, I'm going to have to grab the name. It would be quite silly for us to announce the guild without actually naming them.
To be fair, Pants put his in the middle of his.
And
his-
his
at least
his
there was-
guild's name was nice and front facing.
Verbum Day is a great name,
Actually,
actually.
Day is a great name, yeah.
That's pretty
I
epic.
feel kind of silly because I was the one who helped
Translate
him
the
name
name.
his his guild. So
Scrolling up.
Plume Equites.
Ooh, what did
Um,
that mean?
Literally translated, it means Knights of the Feather, but poetically, it's supposed to be understood as Knights of the Quill.
Interesting.
Interesting. I like that.
Well, tell us about the Knights of the Quill.
All right. So this is the excerpt that Washington gave us. Taking inspiration from Saint Jerome, patron saint of librarians, who stated, "Read often, learn all that you can. Let sleep overcome you. The roll still in your hands. When your head falls, let it be on the sacred page. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. When we pray, we speak to God, but when we read, God speaks to us all. We will each day read one chapter from the Bible to come to greater knowledge of the Bible. People will also get to learn and grow from discussions of literature and media, like Tolkien's works and Over the Garden Wall."
Ooh, that sounds fun.
I appreciate the fact that it stated what they're going to do.
Yeah. One chapter a day. Luckily, there's some 1,200 chapters of the Bible, so they're going to have a good amount of,
Yeah,
only going
you
to,
can do that
on
forever.
average, well, 4 years, but yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of 4 years, it's been 4 years. You could just start over.
Isn't that what the church does with the reading, the Sunday readings?
Yeah,
Or
like
is it
3 years.
3 year
Yeah.
schedule? Is it 3 year schedule?
But I'm
for
just
the
saying, like,
football?
even if you read the whole Bible through in 4 years, at the end of 4 years, you could start over. It's kind of like when you watched a movie and you haven't watched it for 4 years and you go
Yeah.
back and rewatch it again. You kind of remember parts of it, but not like all the details. You could easily just do that over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, a chapter a day isn't that much, but it's a good way to read. I mean, I've actually recently been reading the Bible. We've been getting through the Gospel of John for the story time, and we'd read 5 chapters a day. And the only reason we stop at 5 is because my throat starts to give out. But
Oh yeah, and you used to pray the daily office, and that also gave you a lot of scripture.
yeah,
4 lessons.
or
Worth.
lessons. Well, now we're gonna move on to the coolest guild, totally. My guild. PapaLlama's also in this guild because I convinced him to join.
Very self-indulgent.
Ah, yes. I am a man with a very healthy ego. But that is,
That
I'm
is
gonna
accurate.
my guild, our guild, Arboris Fide, Trees of the Faith. I named it that because I like trees and I like the faith, and it's a guild for the true and honest, which is a bit self-indulgent, as Jeremy said, but we'll stick with it. We've been called an anti-guild by certain people, but that's not the full picture. Our mission is to promote 3 major virtues: honest work, outdoormanship, and faith. We're going to be we'd like all of you to join us as we discuss outdoor activity, doing honest work, and how it interacts with our lives as faithful. Our guild, frankly, if our guild goes well, it's going to die because everyone's going outside and being, having fun and working hard. But for the time being, we'll band together and we'll talk and we'll promote these ideas because that's something that we could always use more of. It is, as it is said in Rerum Noam, working for gain is credible, not shameful, to a man, since it enables him to earn an honorable livelihood. But to misuse men as though they were things in the pursuit of gain, or to value them solely for their physical powers, that truly is shameful and inhuman. Join us as we celebrate the Lord, the nature He has given us, and the honest work that we do.
I think it's interesting that 2 out of the 5 excerpts we read had a quote from Pope Leo the 13th, which statistically is unlikely considering how many popes there have been that you can quote from.
Leo the 13th did say a lot of stuff. He's actually where my Discord username came from.
I didn't know that his name was Jerma.
No, that's my server profile name, my Discord
Yeah, I was gonna
username.
say your name. I've actually noticed that your name never lined up with your server name never lined up with your Discord name. So it's interesting, especially, and I didn't expect you to actually get your Discord username like when they had the big transition because Jerma is it's some kind of streamer, so I figured somebody would beat you to it, and they did. So Rerum Novarum, I've never heard that, but I always wondered
Correct.
what it was about.
Kind
So
of
it makes
funny that
sense.
Jerma can't pronounce his own username.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Also, the Germa thing, yeah, no, I didn't even aim for two reasons. I didn't aim for that because one, if I did get the actual Germa, I just know some freaks would be trying to get my friend. It was really funny. The other Germa is popular enough that like half a year ago, some lass joined the server with the name Germa's daughter. And
No,
Pirate found it so funny that he changed his name briefly to Germa's son.
nah.
Unfortunately, Germa's daughter is no longer with us. But I remember the amusing thing of walking into Parish Hall and seeing Germa's daughter. I was like, oh, must be the other one. Speaking of Germa's son, no, I won't bring that up.
I have no
Can't say
clue
that
where you
now
were
that
going.
you've partially brought it up.
Okay, fine, I'll bring it up. Jojo, the former mod, he technically owes me a son or a parishioner of my choosing because
A
he lost the
son,
triple jinx.
a
And he's gonna.
son, or a
What do you mean he
parishioner of your?
owes you a
Yeah, I'm
son or a
confused.
Alright, y'all ever hear of Rumpelstiltskin?
Yeah,
Long
it's like a
time ago, yeah.
folklore.
So you see, Rumpelstiltskin helped this woman or something or another, and the woman owed him her firstborn son. But Rumpelstiltskin, if you could guess his name, would annul the debt. However, I, a far wiser man than Rumpelstiltskin, will not give Jojo that out, and I will
Oh, is
simply
it
just
kind of like the law of surprise in The Witcher?
I don't know about that, so
Basically, it's like a magical law where um, if you save the life of someone else, you can demand anything from them as the reward of saving them.
interesting. Interesting.
Um, and it's a request for something which neither the savior nor the saved knows the nature of until the saved man returns home. And typically it manifests as like giving up your child to the other person.
Very interesting. Oh no, I haven't heard about it at all. I was thinking more Rumpelstiltskin or a evil witch.
I mean, I'm sure that's where the Witcher got it from.
But because as I said, a wiser man I am than Rumpelstiltskin, Jojo is not going to sneak out of this with revealing my true name. Yeah, he's probably going to sneak out of it because I set the collect date for 15 years in the future, by which I will probably forgotten.
Wait. Pause all of this. Does that mean JoJo knows your real name?
Hmm?
Is that's what you just said?
What? No, I didn't say that.
I believe that is exactly what you just said. Wow. All right.
I'm not sure you want to compare yourself to an imp, but I think that's pretty fitting for you, Germa.
I don't think Rumpelstiltskin's an imp.
Yeah, it is. If I looked out, it's on Wikipedia. The
Wait a minute,
story is
hold on.
about an imp who spins straw into gold in exchange for a woman's firstborn child.
No, Encyclopedia Britannica says a mysterious gnome-like man. He's a man, just one like
That's
a
what an
gnome.
imp is.
I don't think. I thought an imp was an imp is a mythological European creature similar to a fairy or demon. The word may derive from the term yimp, used to denote a young grafted tree. I don't think a mysterious gnome-like man is an imp. I think he's a mysterious gnome-like man.
Well,
Anyway,
no matter what happens, we have been going on for quite a while, and this has been a fun, riveting discussion with Jeremy. And it was a great honor having Jeremy, the owner of CDD, on for the
truly,
first
truly.
time ever.
First
So
time.
technically the second, because we actually had a podcast that never got produced that had Jeremy on it. The secret, you know, just to clue you guys into what you could have heard. We tried to do it was Jerma, Jeremy, myself, we tried to do a watch party of the Trump Biden debate. We decided that was, after certain events, we decided it was not a great idea to release that, and we did not bother. So, technically, this is the first public appearance of Jeremy on the server, and this was a very good discussion.
First.
Guilds, guilds are coming. They're gonna be a blast. And for all you Crusader Lords and Crusader Kings out there who haven't gotten the notification yet, you should definitely check it out in the Crusader forum.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I've been Jerma.
And I'm PapaLlama.
And I'm Jeremy.
That's a good night.